I walk through the shadow of death left to fear. This is a journey through the halls of hell.
Yes people, what is good? I am BA, back once again with another reaction in the Game of Thrones series. This is episode 5 of season 1 and it is called The Wolf and the Lion. Also, before I get into the last episode, I didn't mention it last week, but I have a channel intro finally. Much respect to Slimehouse TV and Canal, who were both involved in helping make it. I am currently co-writing a video game with the person who rendered the intro sequence with me. So you know, new intro, maybe I should try a new introduction. Let's run it.
I walk through the shadow of death left to fear. This is a journey through the halls of hell.
¿Dónde está, señores y señoritas? A BA react? No, that's not gonna work.
I walk through the shadow of death left to fear. This is a journey through the halls of hell.
Hey gang, welcome back to another one of BA Reactions YouTube No.
I walk through the shadow of death left to fear. This is a journey through the halls of hell.
Fuck you looking at? No.
I walk through the shadow of death left to fear. This is a journey through the halls of hell.
Hey guys, how's it going? BA Reactions here, back with another Game of Thrones for you, and I know this isn't my actual accent, but I just figured I'd start talking like this from now on, and then maybe the algorithm will actually finally pick me up, you racist piece of shit. No, you know what, we'll just go with the original.
I walk through the shadow of death left to fear. This is a journey through the halls of hell.
Just having a bit of fun with that new intro there, hope you appreciated that. So yeah, last episode quite a few things went on. Samwell Tarly was introduced to the Wall and we saw the dynamic straight away that everybody was going to look down on him because he's just not a fighter, and Jon has his back. So that starts straight away Jon sort of undermining Thorne, which begins Thorne hating Jon forever. But it's good to see someone have Sam's back, because as I was saying all last episode, what he doesn't have in his warrior skills, he certainly makes up for in his mind, so there's still value to him as a person to have around. At King's Landing, we've got Ned now following the rabbit hole of that book that Jon Arryn was renting out, and also we got to see Arya continue her ninja training by just balancing on a step. And that scene with Ned and Cersei was basically them declaring themselves open enemies, you know what I mean? She was just like, you're just a soldier, you just follow orders. He was like, I am, but I also know how to kill my enemies, and she was like, so do I. So I mean, I know it was all veiled, but how does either one of them leave that conversation not thinking, probably gonna have to kill this motherfucker? And then at the very end, Tyrion was heading back down south from his visit to the Wall. He stops in a tavern where Catelyn Stark is, and she intercepts him and causes everybody in the tavern to draw their swords at his neck. So Tyrion has now been captured due to the fact that Catelyn believes it was the Lannisters who pushed Bran out the window, and she is bang on the money with that. So kinda justified, even though Tyrion had nothing to do with it personally. So yeah, without further ado, this is episode 5 of season 1, The Lion and the Wolf. Let's check it out and see what it's saying to it. Question for the comments: what is your favourite castle in all of Game of Thrones? I have to say, I forget the name of it right now, but the one we don't see that is the Lannisters' main castle sounds so badass. It's basically inside a mountain and there's only a watchtower at the top, which looks like a castle spire, but it's just the watchtower for the mountain covered castle, which is probably one of the best castles to have when your enemies might potentially have dragons, I guess. And aside from that, I gotta give a special shout out to the Eyrie and the Vale, because I love the moon door. I think conceptually it looks like such a hard place to capture, and also the method of execution is quite unique. Not really that savage either. I mean, it's an insta-kill guaranteed when you hit the fucking ground, so there's worse ways to die in this world, that's for sure.
We'd never worn this armor before.
Bad luck for him, going against the mountain.
Who determines the draw?
Ned knows straight away this is some bullshit.
You've done good work, sisters.
I'm gonna defend Ned here. He gets such a reputation of being quite a low IQ character, but his instincts and street smarts and shit are up there with anyone. It's just sometimes loyalty and honour supersede his instincts, which I think is his fatal flaw. I would say definitely loyalty and honour over stupidity is what leads to Ned's death.
I hear the king wants to joust today.
Yes, that will never happen.
Robert tends to do what he wants.
That would have been a hilarious scene, seeing Robert laughingly charge towards some terrified squire who has been instructed under no circumstances is he allowed to hit the king.
Your mother was a dumb whore with a fat arse. Did you know that?
Sorry, I'm just having a moment to myself here. I fucking love Robert, but you know what actually made that? That actor playing Lancel Lannister's little poor puppy dog face as he took the shot. Oh shit.
You heard the hand. The king's too fat for his armour. Go find the breastplate stretcher. Now!
He is actually doing such a good job with his expressions and his anxious nervousness.
Because I'm king, piss on that. I want to hit somebody.
And who's going to hit your bike?
Anybody who can.
Yeah, exactly. What's the point, Robert? No one's gonna lift the fucking sword to you, mate.
You're telling me those cowards had let me win?
Aye.
Robert seems a smarter man than that. I mean, that seems like a low IQ thing to say. He should know that shit. Who's gonna hit the king?
I have John Arryn to thank for Cersei Lannister will make a good match, he told me.
John Arryn deserved to die for that advice alone.
Bow before your king. Bow, you shits.
And on one hand, it's like, I can't believe the king thinks that about the people. That's one way to look at it, but the way I see that is just Robert understands the ridiculousness of it all, and just so happens to be in the position where everyone else has to bow to him. And you could just as easily imagine him seeing the ridiculousness of it all, being one of the peasants bowing to a different king and still laughing like he does. Ah yes, the well-rounded character development of Renly continues. He might as well have I love cocks tattooed on his forehead.
Don't let Sir Gregor hurt him.
Hey.
I can't watch.
Poor Sansa, I've been hard on her in these first few episodes, but see the innocence with which she said that sentence. She's so not built for the fucking realities of this world. It's heartbreaking, actually. The shit she's gonna endure, she just has no idea it even exists yet. And it's actually a huge deal. They let the Flowers Knight beat the Mountain in a joust. You know, the Mountain is an indestructible killing machine. They really put the Flowers Knight over heavily here. It's like some Buster Douglas Mike Tyson shit. Maybe the Mountain also had chlamydia during this joust.
Loras knew his mare was in heat. Quite crafty, really.
Sir Loras would never do that. There's no honour in tricks.
When you're fighting, trickery is part of the game. It is not being, you know, sneaky or a liar to trick an opponent when in combat. Like, if you fake a right hook and then come with a left straight, he's not going to stop and be like, you fucking lied to me. You pretended the right punch was coming, but then you hit me with, you're a fucking liar, sir. The Mountain taking this as well as expected.
Stop this madness in the name of your...
And I absolutely love that, because think how crazy that is. During a moment of like life or death sword swinging, the Hound still overheard his king and instantly bowed like a knight as soon as he heard his king's voice. And also, this scene set up the Mountain really well. It set up Loras really well as a formidable fighter, even though he's much smaller than the Mountain, and also set up the Hound as probably the only dude that could stand sword to sword with the Mountain. Because yes, Loras pulled out a battlefield trick and outmaneuvered him in a joust, but I feel like if he drew his sword and had to go sword to sword with the Mountain, he would fucking die within seconds.
The captive him, downwards from his horse they lift, no more would he...
It would be so annoying if you were sitting there and the minstrel started singing about you. You'd be like, really, mate? Really? I've been sitting here in my own shit with my hands bound and you've been thinking of a little fucking song in your head about how much of an asshole I am. Thanks, minstrel.
The dagger found...
What sort of imbecile arms an assassin with his own blade? Should I gag him? Why? Am I starting to make sense?
Tyrion straight away cuts through the bullshit of the situation. Why would he give the assassin the dagger that links back to him? Fuck. Oh Oh shit, I didn't even realise Catelyn got hit on the head with a stone until there. That's brutal. When you think about it, it's actually kind of fucked up that Catelyn continued with taking Tyrion to the Vale after he literally saved her life in that scene. What a brutal way to kill someone as well, shield bashing someone to death with the pointy bottom of a shield.
Nothing like a woman after a fight.
I'm willing if she is.
Lady Catelyn should have at least walked up to Tyrion there and gave him a little thank you. I feel like he deserved one. He did just save her life.
Lords?
The Greyjoys.
Famed for their skills at archery, navigation, and lovemaking.
Theon fucking loves those facts about Greyjoys, doesn't he?
Your mother sat by your bed for 3 weeks while you slept.
And then she left.
You can't expect Bran to understand this shit, he's just a kid, but if Catelyn thought she could help everyone by remaining in Winterfell, she would have remained in Winterfell. He should know that if she's having to leave Winterfell, she's on some serious business.
Sometimes I worry you're too smart for your own good.
Lucky this guy never lived to see Bran become the three-eyed raven. He'd be like, holy shit. Fair play to Theon, he is a douche this season, but he is a good shot with a bow and arrow.
I suffered an early mutilation myself.
I feel like Varys could work on his conversation openers a little bit.
Who would mourn poor Varys then? North or south, they sing no songs for spiders.
That's true, we need to write more songs about arachnids.
What sort of doom does the king face?
The same sort as John Arryn.
I had no idea. I can't believe I've watched this show twice and had no idea Varys actually gives Ned a heads up about the poison. I wonder how he learned of that plot.
His squire, Sir Hugh.
Pity what happened to him, just when his life seemed to be going so nicely.
So hard to trust him still at this point in the show, but when you watch this scene knowing all that plays out, Varys is being 100% straight up in everything he's saying with Ned right now. Was that Balerion the Dread, that skull? It certainly looks like a huge dragon.
We will be at war soon, my friend.
What good is war now? We're not ready.
Was that the guy who was helping out Daenerys in episode 1 over in Essos that he's talking to right now?
The first to arrive and the last to leave. I admire your industry.
And this is 3 Varys scenes in a row we're getting, so think how interesting that is, because the first one you're like, oh, Varys has got Ned's back, but then the second one he's having some clandestine meeting underneath the castle with some other guy, and now he's meeting up with Peter Baelish, so it's 3 scenes that make it, again, really hard to judge where he lies as a character.
Is it true that Sir Marlon of Tumblestone prefers amputees?
All desires are valid to a man with a full purse.
Shows you where Baelish's morals are at straight away.
To find beautiful corpses before they rot.
Such a thing would not be in accordance with the king's laws.
Strictly speaking.
And Varys is one of the only people that can threaten Baelish with the info he has on him.
Now, the last time I saw you, you were talking to the Hand of the King.
Saw me with your own eyes.
Eyes I own.
What a great quote that is. Not my own eyes, but eyes I own.
A simple word to the Queen.
One shudders at the thought.
Such great acting there by the guy that plays Varys.
I saw you escorting a certain foreign dignitary.
Shit, that is the guy from episode 1 that was helping Daenerys. And how did Baelish know about their meeting unless Arya is literally one of his spies? I mean, there was no one else there.
To find myself in a position where a simple word to the king.
What are you two conspiring about?
They set up both of these guys so well, like just 2 snakes hissing at each other, then someone just walks in like, what are you guys talking about? And they're like, football, shopping, to quote Trainspotting there.
I'm not a beggar, I live here.
Do you want a smack on your ear to help you with your hearing?
I want to see my father.
Arya has a real trouble getting let into castles throughout this show, doesn't she?
My father will have both your heads on spikes. Now, are you going to let me by, or do I need to smack you on the ear to help with your hearing?
That's these 2 dipshits told.
They said you found the bastard, and the wolves are fighting the lions, and the savage. Something about the savage.
Where did you hear this?
The fact that she mentioned the phrase, he's found the bastard, he instantly knows she's telling the truth.
She's taken the imp.
That makes sense why he would need to urgently give him that information, because as soon as this gets back to the Lannisters, all hell is going to break loose. Look at that for a castle though. Truly inconquerable, because if shit really went down, they could destroy the one bridge leading to it and they'd be completely fortified.
I believe it concerns Daenerys Targaryen.
The whore is pregnant.
Fucking hell, Robert. Just let someone across the other side of the world have a child.
I want them dead. Mother and child both. And that fool Viserys as well. Is that plain enough for you?
Oh, don't worry. Viserys is on the fast track to making sure he gets killed by everybody around him.
Do you think it's honor that's keeping the peace? It's fear. Fear and blood.
Then we're no better than the Mad King.
Well, there is a fine line, Robert, between, you know, getting extremists to control your people through fear or making your kingdom so good your people love you.
If she has a son, a Targaryen at the head of a Dothraki army, what then?
It shows you where the hierarchy of the sort of power-based warriors are in this world, because the Baratheons are known as brute force barbarian type fighters, so it shows the Dothraki are just that next level, the fact that it's one of Robert's big fears.
I bear this girl no ill will, but should the Dothraki invade, how many innocents will die?
And looking back, this is such a rational conversation about killing a young woman and her child, but they're kinda correct.
Cut her throat. Be done with it.
But just the fact Baelish said it, go fuck yourself. She can be alive and kill us all before I cut her throat on your command.
The Robert I grew up with didn't tremble at the shadow of an unborn child.
What a sentence that is. Such a great quote. What's mad is usually becoming the Hand of the King is what gets you killed, but in Ned's case it was removing it that took off that layer of defense he had to some extent.
If you're still here come nightfall, I'll take you to see the last person John Arryn spoke with before falling ill. If that sort of thing still interests you.
What is Baelish's motivation here? Just to keep Ned around long enough that this shit kicks off properly? Was that his one motivation? To keep Ned in the South long enough? If so, that makes me absolutely hate Baelish even more.
You pollute my home with these presents.
Oh man, you completely forget about this strange little family dynamic and this weird little shit. I mean, you can't even call the kid weird. He's been raised for this to be fucking normal by his mum, obviously.
Look at him. The Lord of all the Vale.
Titty milk dribbling down his cheek.
He killed your father. He murdered the Hand of the King.
Oh, did I kill him too?
I don't want to be disrespectful, but this actress has a really stern face that plays well with extremist roles. I believe she's also in The Witch, and because it's a period piece and they're an extremist religious family, it works really well in that movie also.
Mummy, I want to see the Bearman slime.
What a harrowing future the Vale has, that this is their future ruler. I mean, surely these knights know if they do one thing wrong, they're getting moondoored.
You go sleep, dwarf man. Sleep good, little dwarf man.
Shout outs to the actor playing the low IQ prison guard. He does an excellent job. He's one of the low IQ characters in the show you just fully believe he's an absolute dunce cap and the only thing he was good at in life was putting people in cells. It's such a good design for prison cells as well. Fits into the entire theme of that castle with the moon door and their cells even fall out, you know, on slight slants, which is fucked up because if you fall asleep, you know, you might roll off the edge. They just seem like the worst prison cells of all time.
How many wars have you fought in? Oh, and how much did your father spend on that armour of yours? Hold still.
He does have, like, the fanciest armour out of everyone in Season 1. His helmet alone looks like it could buy Winterfell.
It's not a gift. No one gave it to me. I'm good because I work at it. Every day of my life since I could hold a stick.
Yeah, that's the truth of it. Obviously, you do get naturally good fighters. You know, if you put 30 people who'd never trained martial arts in a pub and told them to fight, there'd be one dude who just had that natural speed and strength and knowing where to hit or how hard to hit or have the ability to be hit. So yeah, you do get what you would call someone who's naturally gifted at fighting. But if you look at, for instance, what I would call the lineage of champions in modern mixed martial arts, which is UFC, you genuinely get a combination, looking through the past champions, of people who were clearly natural alphas in that bar full of 30 people, but also people who just spent their whole life training, building their physique and learning the art of combat to a level where they could negate an alpha male's natural advantages.
My father could be your bank. I've never fought in a war before, but I'd fight for you.
It is a powerful combo when you think about just the two houses though. Baratheon and Tyrell combination. Obviously the Tyrells have giant food resources, a lot of money, powerful knights and army. It's a decent combination. Not good enough to conquer Westeros, but it's a good starting point. If they'd have linked up with a couple more houses, they could have really had something powerful going.
That thrones are only made for the hated and the feared.
Now, I know HBO gets a bad reputation, but within 5 episodes, we've had 2 blowjob scenes, including one on the introductory scene of a dwarf. Not that dwarfs can't get their dicks sucked out here, just saying. Then we've had Cersei and Jaime banging up in a rotting tower. We've had Theon smashing Ros for an elongated period of time. We've had, you know, the Daenerys pre and post consensual sexual arrangement with Khal Drogo. I mean, they're really going hard with people getting fucked all over the place 5 episodes in, aren't they?
Only a fool would meet the Dothraki in an open field.
See, only a fool. Not even they would be a tough fight, just we'd get annihilated.
What do you want?
Yeah, Robert doesn't want any of this bullshit. He's just a very simple person. He wants a peaceful life now. He's been through too much and he's fast-tracking himself to that early grave.
What holds it together?
Our marriage.
At least they can laugh about it.
I thought if I didn't talk about her, she'd just fade away for you. When I realised that wasn't going to happen.
I feel bad for Cersei in this scene. You will not hear me say this often throughout this show, but she genuinely loved Robert when she first met and saw him, and he was just never gonna love her because his heart was with a woman who had died.
Someone took her away from me, and 7 kingdoms couldn't fill the hole she left behind.
And I feel even worse for Robert. It's just a tragic story between these two.
Was it ever possible for us? Was there ever a time, ever a moment?
No.
You have to respect how honest they are with one another during this scene. It's nice to see them just sit down and have an honest conversation. It's also kind of fucked up because we know Cersei's doing it because she has plans to kill Robert very soon. But at the same time, at least they both know the situation they're in, you know? Hearing them talk in that scene, neither of them are lying to themselves. They both know exactly where they're at and why things are the way they are. And at least that's cool.
I've been with no one else. I swear it, my lord. By the old gods and you.
Oh, fuck, I forgot about this storyline. So horrible, man.
John Arryn tracked them all down. Why?
He was the king's hand. Perhaps Robert wanted them looked after.
And that was just to keep Ned in the city. He gave him absolutely zero info there, completely wasted his time making sure he hung around for this. And here we go. This is really the last moments of peace ever. Better enjoy them.
What's the meaning of this, Lannister?
Get back inside, where it's safe.
Look at Baelish, the little rat, putting on this act.
He was taken at my command to answer for his crimes.
My lords!
And you gotta respect Jaime backing his brother like that. Obviously that's easy to do when you sneak attack someone with 20 guards, but Jaime wants a fair fight. Ned's number 2 guy is actually pretty dope. Unfortunately just no match for Jaime Lannister. It's so annoying he's actually a really good swordsman as well while being such a dick. And fair play to Ned for even giving Jaime a good fight, because Jaime's legitimately meant to be one of the best living swordsmen at this point. What a prick. Even Jaime knows this guard's a prick. Gotta respect the guy that wanted a fair fight. He might have showed up with backup, but all he wanted was a fair fight. And yeah, as I said earlier, who knew that that handpin in Ned's case was kind of keeping him safe, because I feel like if that had happened to Tyrion, but then Ned was still the hand, Jaime would have had to have went through Robert before he could have addressed Ned in that way. Okay, and that was episode 5 of season 1 of Game of Thrones, The Lion and the Wolf, and I will be back in just a minute with my thoughts on that. So, The Wolf and the Lion, what did I think of that? Sorry, I called it The Lion and the Wolf a second ago, I got those two things muddled up. But yeah, what did I think of that? Well, first of all, I really liked how it shed some light on the whole world of the Vale and the Eyrie and stuff like that in this episode. It's always been one of my favourite locations, the castle, the moon door, and those cells that Tyrion get put in that are slightly slanted that you can roll off the edges in just look like the worst prison cells imaginable. And also the strange dynamic between the woman there and her son, it's so fucking creepy. She's like a crazy cat lady or something, but she just so happens to be the lady of her own keep. And politically, things just went from bad to worse to absolute chaos at the end there at King's Landing. It started with, you know, we got a few scenes with Varys, we saw him talking to Ned, and again, it's really hard to trust him at this point. You think, is he stirring the pot or is he giving him legitimate information? Of course, it being a rewatch, I know now looking at that scene, he was giving him nothing but legitimate information. But then we see Arya overhearing him underneath the castle keep, and that makes you think, oh, he's still conspiring. And then we get the scene right after that with him and Baelish, where it was just the two snakes dropping all the veiled threats. And I've got to say, that scene with Varys and Baelish is actually one of the best scenes in the entire show. Saying it right now, I know it's not epic, but if you think about how hard it is in a world like this to set up two high-minded, spy-having, conspiry, information-gathering characters, making them different, only 5 episodes in again, and then just having that scene where they're able to throw all these veiled threats at one another, and then the punchline is someone else coming in the room, and they instantly like diffuse all their secret knowledge, because while they are comfortable dropping their spy threats to one another, it's still knowledge they wouldn't want a third party to ever know about. But yeah, then we get the scene with Baelish and Ned, and looking back, he genuinely was just doing that to keep him there longer. Ned was making a smart choice to leave King's Landing as soon as he turned in his badge to be handed a king, because he knew Robert was not going to take that shit lying down, and if he had left exactly when he was planning to, he'd have probably have been back in Winterfell, no problems. But Baelish kept him around just long enough, causing that confrontation at the end, and you can't even blame Jaime. Obviously we hate Jaime in this first season, but his motivation is literally like, my brother has been kidnapped, we need to instantly get him unkidnapped, and who wouldn't do that for one of their family members? And yes, we are rooting for Ned, but again, you have to respect the fact that he wanted a fair fight, and as soon as one of his guards actually put their spear in Ned, it was like over. That guard got knocked out and Jaime just rode away like disgusted that someone else had intervened in his challenge of open combat. Like, that's how serious Jaime Lannister takes how he values his own swordsmanship skills at this point in the story. And a special shout out to that scene with Robert and Cersei, you know, it's the one sort of scene where they sit down with one another and just put their cards on the table, have no secrets and hide nothing from one another, and just have an honest conversation. Yes, it's a bit bleak and miserable, but the fact that they're able to face it honestly brings a bit of happiness to them both in that scene, as strange as it is, and it was another great scene. And it is kind of fucked to think this episode is one of the last moments of true kind of peace left we have for 8 seasons. So yeah, I'm really gonna hold this episode dear before absolutely everything begins falling to shit sequentially, non-stop, for 8 seasons. And as fucking horrific as it no doubt will be, I cannot wait to see what happens next week. If you've liked this video, click like, subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this, ring the bell to be notified as to when they drop. If there's anything you want to talk about, comment down below, and share this around to anyone you think might appreciate it or want to watch these reactions along with us. My Patreon link is down in the description. If you become a patron, you get access to my blog, you get access to these reactions I put on YouTube a month and a half in advance, and you also get access to full-length versions of everything I react to. So consider becoming a patron, it helps me and my channel out so much, and until next time, I have been BA, peace.